Hey everybody, Dan Henry here, and today I have Kenny Cannon with me. He's one of our clients, and he was able to sell 90 copies of his digital product with only 90 minutes of preparation. Okay, now we'll explain what that means here in just a moment. Kenny, thank you so much for hopping on.
Thanks for having me, man.
Cool. So let me do this. I'm going to ask you some questions here to go through this, but let's just get a quick summary. So you've been launching products because a lot of the people that we work with are beginners, but a lot of the people we work with are also experienced seasoned marketers, and you're one of them. You've been launching products for quite some time, right?
Yeah, about 13 years, yeah.
Okay, so you're definitely experienced, but I remember before we started getting on the call here, you told me that it would normally take you about a month and a half to prepare a product for sale and then launch it. Is that correct?
Yeah, it would take me about a month and a half. And then, you know, after that, it was all the customer support and everything else. And I was not, you know, I mean, the amount of financial gain from that and the amount of value that the customer would get was slim to none.
Got it. Okay. So you joined our program, and from what I understand, you did the process, and I'm looking at the notes here. You did the process where we teach you how to do a whiteboard webinar to validate your offer. I also like to call it a scale test because it's like putting ankle weights on yourself, making sure your product will sell without any of the normal fancy stuff. And it only requires a few minutes of preparation. So just to summarize here, it took you about 90 minutes to put together a whiteboard webinar based on the program, based on what we teach and coach you with. And then from that, you were able to do, and I'm looking at the notes here, $14,000 with your whiteboard webinar. That validated your idea. And then you went and did an actual webinar with slides and all that and did $31,000 for a total of $45,000, correct?
Yep.
Now, what's important about this is that instead of taking a month and a half to plan all this, you planned it in 90 minutes using our framework. It worked, which then allowed you to take the next step and do an actual live webinar, right?
Right.
Awesome. Killer. So that's the summary, guys, of what we're going to be talking about here. So first, before you decided to start working with us, what was the main problem you had?
The main problem for me was audience. You know, I was doing the same thing over and over again for 13 years. I was selling a very, very low ticket product. And, you know, you say low ticket, you have one number. When I say low ticket, I'm talking about like $7, right? I was selling a $7 product.
That's hyper low ticket.
That's like ridiculous. I was selling really low ticket products, and I was getting really frustrated because people weren't doing anything and they weren't seeing any results. They weren't taking any action. And the problem was I didn't know how to get out of that cycle. So I would sell a low ticket product and then I'd put them on a webinar, and I would sell, another product in the webinar. So I came to you because I wanted to break out of that cycle. I needed to have that paid traffic education or model to follow so I could break out of that and never have to do that again.
Got it. Awesome. So, and do you feel that so far that you've accomplished that, or you've learned what you came looking for?
I think, yeah, I definitely do. Look, I think the bottom line is that I know what you do works. So if you're the whiteboard webinar, that was the first time I ever did that. I'd never done anything like that in my life. I did it. It worked. I did the live call. I've done them before. It worked. Your follow-up sequence was absolutely amazing. It was the best follow-up sequence I ever had. I closed 9 sales on the last day it was open. So that was amazing. I usually do like 2 or 3 sales in the replay. That replay absolutely killed it. So your stuff works. So when I go through your Facebook stuff and all that, the high ticket stuff, which I'm moving on to now, I have no doubt that that's going to work as well. I'm just going to follow exactly what you teach me to do it, and get the result. It's as simple as that. I'm a big modeler, so I'm just going to do whatever you tell me to do and get the result.
Well, that's great. I mean, why fix it if it's not broken? If somebody's already done it and gone through it, right, why reinvent the wheel? And that's one thing, is the reason we're able to help people as well as we are is not because I or my team has superpowers. It's just because we have the data. We've done it so many times. We've seen every possible scenario, every possible problem, and we've seen each one of those problems 10 to 15 times. So that's how we're able to do this. Now, you mentioned the follow-up sequence. This is one thing that a lot of people, even experienced marketers, really haven't nailed down yet, and something that we went super deep on in my company, and that is the follow-up sequence. That is, you know, if they come out of a webinar or a launch or whatever it is, how do we follow up with them to get the people that didn't buy immediately to go ahead and buy? Now, in our program, we give you a plug and play follow-up sequence. Instead of making you write your own stuff, we give you we just hand it to you. That's the sequence you use?
Yeah, and I tell you, the objection videos were absolutely unbelievable. That in and of itself, and I can't believe, like, I feel like a moron for not thinking of that myself. That was absolutely unbelievable. The closing was ridiculous. When you actually close the webinar out and how you structure that in your emails was fantastic. Like I said, the last day I had 9 sales. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, I mean, it's as easy as that. And I don't want to, like, what we do is hard work, right? I've been doing it for a long time. You've been doing it for a long time. It's not something that you just come in here and just type away and watch videos and a check comes in the mailbox. That doesn't happen. It's hard work. Like, we do this a long time and we work hard at it. But if you just do what you're taught and you actually do it, you're going to see a result. Is it going to be the same as mine? Probably not. But are you going to see a result? Sure. And that's my only mindset. Like, when I talk to, I don't know if I want to mention any names of the people that work for you, but when I talked to the person that I talked to when I got into this program, let's just put it that way, I made a promise to him that I was not going to come in here like someone who knew what they were doing for the past 13 years. I was going to come in here like someone who's never done this before, and I'm going to take Dan's advice and do whatever the hell he tells me to do. And I'm going to bring back a little bit of history because this is the first time I actually heard of you. If he tells me to dance around in a bunny suit in a Facebook ad, I'm going to do it.
Oh, don't tell me that. I might do that just to see if it's good.
I'm just saying, like I'm going to do whatever I'm told, because I didn't want to come in here like, oh, I know this is, I'm better at him than this, or I know this. No, like, whatever it was, I'm doing it. Copy, paste, follow it, and just do it. And I got the result. So I'm just going to keep doing it that way and keep getting the result and just keep moving up the ladder. It's as simple as that for me anyway.
Well, man, that's a great attitude to have. And you know, whenever I personally invest in another program, like I recently invested in a speaking from stage program, I do the same thing. I go in and I don't try to pretend like, you know, even if I do know a lot, it's irrelevant. I go in with an open mind, because that's the only way you're going to learn. And if you're going to do something, you got to be willing to learn. So that's great. Now, specifically, why did you choose, you know, you're coming off of that, why did you choose to work with me and my team versus anybody else?
Well, number one, and this is important to point out, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but the only other thing that I've ever invested in my lifetime when it comes to this type of business is the Rich Jerk in 2005.
Oh, wow. I've
never bought anything.
Oh, man, I remember that. Honestly, I thought it was an interesting marketing take, and apparently it did well back then. But that's funny. Yeah. I remember that guy from back in the day.
And that's the only other thing that I've ever bought in this market. So I was telling you before we started here, I watched your webinar for SOC in July, and I actually took action on one of the things that you gave away in that call, which is the group coaching. I did it myself, my way, so it wasn't perfect, but I did it myself, and I made $30,000 from that call. Now, I didn't do a whiteboard webinar. I did slides because I didn't know to do a whiteboard webinar, but I took one thing that you taught in that free call, took action on it, and I made 30 grand. So just from that alone, I was like, you know what? This guy obviously knows what he's talking about. I'm going to do it. But I'm a little bit of a moron, so I didn't sign up till January. Because what happened was I did that call, and then I'm like, okay, now what? Like, I don't know what to do next. I'm still stuck in that same situation. So it wasn't until January, but it is what it is. I constantly think all the time, like, if I would have signed up in July, where I'd be now, but past is the past, just got to move forward. But that's what made me, if that's the question, that's what made me choose you over not only anything else, but literally the first thing that I've ever invested in besides a $27 ebook 20 years ago, whenever it was, you know, that's it. That's pretty much how it went down.
So that's, you said 33, what, 33,000?
It was around 30,000, 31,000, something 30,000. Like that.
So that's in addition to the 45 you made after you joined the program.
Yeah.
Okay,
but this was before I joined, though. This was in last July.
Right. So you watched a piece, to sum it up for those listening, you watched a free piece of content that I gave out, totally free. You used the advice in that, you made 30. That encouraged you to join my paid program, and then you made even more. Now and with less effort. Now let me ask you this. Do you think you would have made more if instead of just taking the free advice, you would have immediately jumped in?
Oh, 100%. I mean, look, I have everything planned out until September, so I know exactly where I'm going to be, or like close to that. My goal is to be at $300,000 a month by September with this training program, doing high ticket stuff. I would have already been there if I would have signed up in July when I made that 30 grand. I have no doubt in my mind about that.
And that's the opportunity cost. A lot of people, they think if they
Yeah.
oh, I'll sign up later. I'll do the free stuff now and make a little money and then I'll pay for the program. Yeah, but you're losing money and opportunity cost. If you're on one of our coaching calls and I just say, hey, do this instead of that, I could have doubled the sales and you'd have more than paid for. It's just a thing that people have. It's a mindset thing. But I'm glad that you were able to quickly shift that and join. So let me ask you this: now that you've been in for what, a few months?
Yeah, at the end of last week of January, so 3 months, something like that.
Okay, cool. So is there anything in particular that makes our program especially effective?
I think it's, look, I haven't been in any other programs really, so I can't comment on anything else. But what I could tell you is that in this program, if you just do what you're taught, you are going to get a result. It's as simple as that. Now, again, I can't, it's not going to be the same result as mine. It might be better. Hopefully it is. But if you do what you're taught, you're going to get a result. It's as simple as that. But it comes down to anything else. You can't buy a gym membership, never go and expect to get skinny. That's not going to happen. You have to actually do what you're taught and actually do it. If you do that, then you are going to get a result. It's not beaches and Lamborghinis and all that stuff. You have to actually buckle down and work. And if you do that, you're going to get a result. So, again, I can't compare it to anything else, but I know with this program, the one that I'm in, the one that you created, if the person comes in, whoever that may be, and they actually do what you're taught, they're going to see a positive result from it.
Awesome, man. So if you were to sum up your success so far, maybe there was something, I know I kind of summarized it in the beginning, but I want everybody to hear it from you. If you were to summarize the various wins that you had since joining, how would you summarize that?
I think it's two things, really. I mean, I think number one, I found something that I can now take my business to the next level without having to do all of that other stuff that I really did not want to be a part of for a very long time, which is the low ticket sales. I just did not want to be a part of that for a very long time, but I didn't have a way out. SOC gave me a way out. That's number one. Number two, I feel like the people that I'm serving are actually getting value now. And not because the content is any better, because the content that I'm creating is the same. It's structured differently a little bit because of the way that you teach us how to structure it. But what I'm teaching is the same that I've always been teaching, and the value is always there. But when you have a different audience and you charge more money, they're more apt to do something. So,
of course, yeah.
And especially now that I'm moving to the $5,000 number, the high ticket stuff, the people that I'm going to be getting, they're going to see a lot better results because of what we're actually doing together. So I think those are the two things when it comes to it that really changed for me.
Awesome. And of course, I have to interview you where you call the program SOC, and we're about to change the name. But just so if you're watching at home and you happen to check
Digital
out
Millionaire Coaching.
Yeah, it's who cares what it's called. I usually update programs after a couple years, and then I change the name to give it a nice fresh paint job. So whatever it is, it's our main program, and that's what Kenny's in. So my final question is, after working with us, and after achieving these goals, and I know you have a long way to go. Like, you're just getting started. You've only been in 2 or 3 months, but so far, has this had an impact, not just on your business, but on your life? And how would you describe that impact and how it's changed your lifestyle?
I mean, I think as far as my business goes, it's a lot less stressful, right? And I think that's especially going to come true even more when I move into the high ticket stuff. I mean, one of the things I'm a salesperson. That's what I do. I don't pretend to be an entrepreneur. I don't pretend to be Elon Musk. I'm not that. And I am certainly not a customer support guy. I hated the low ticket stuff so much that it just made me I don't want to say suicidal and be all crazy, but I hated everything about it. I just didn't like it at all.
A lot. Let's just put it that
I just really did not like it. And what attracts me to the high ticket end of what we do here, leaving aside the results that I got before, is that I don't want to say customer support goes away because it doesn't, but a lot of the stuff that you deal with on the low ticket end does go away. I don't know that for a fact because I didn't do it yet, but you tell me that and I trust it because everything you've told me so far has come true. So that's why I chose that path. And I think that's a big change for me, right? All that stress is now gone. The financial stress, that's all gone. And I finally see a path out of the old $7 launch model into the paid traffic model. And I never had that path before. I never knew how to do that. And again, I followed all your advice in the past since I joined. I've gotten a result from it, a very good one. So I have no reason to believe that what you're going to teach me with the paid stuff is not going to get me the same result. And I'm a very, very hard worker. Like, I'm someone who puts my head down and just does it. So, you know, I'm going to take it to the next level. And that's kind of what it is for me when it comes to that. It's just all about finding that new direction and finally being able to get paid what I believe my training and my coaching is worth.
That's awesome, man. And yeah, you will experience way less customer support and way higher quality of customer and better results that your customers will get from your stuff when you charge a more premium price. Absolutely. I promise you that. Now, the last question I usually ask in parting is, and by the way, thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to talk to me today.
Yeah, no problem.
Is this, I usually ask, well, you know, if anybody was on the fence about working with us, getting in the same program, what would you tell them? But I'd like to ask you a little bit different of a question.
Sure.
And that is, if you're an experienced marketer, right? And you've already done well, you've already had 6-figure launches, or you've done well, and you're a really good marketer, right? And Kenny, I would consider you already a good marketer. What would you tell somebody who already is experienced, who already is good, and who may be on the fence of whether or not our team can help them?
Well, number one, you're either growing or you're dying, right? So no matter how good you are right now, there's always another level. That's number one. Number two, there are plenty of things, and there's no way that me and you can go through this right now, but there are plenty of things in just week 1 of the program that I have never heard anybody say in my life, let alone 2, 3, 4, 5, let alone webinar in a weekend, let alone ad in a week. Like, I've never seen anybody teach something like this the way that you do inside of Digital Millionaire Secrets Coaching. I've never heard anybody do that before.
Coaching. Whatever. Let's call it Rubber Baby Bunky Bubbers.
Whatever it is. Listen,
we're changing the name to Digital Millionaire Coaching. But yes.
It gets results. That's the bottom line. So if you're someone who's successful already, there's another level to it. And I believe, based on my experience, that this program and Dan and all the other support people in there, Carl, everybody else, they will be able to help you get there. And the other thing too that I'll say that completely did it for me is the Facebook group is absolutely amazing. That in and of itself is worth everything that you invest in this program. Just the people in there are absolutely amazing. And I've gotten so much value out of that it's hard to even explain. The coaching calls as well, but the Facebook group has been absolutely amazing.
Cool, man. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for hopping on here. And I look forward to scheduling another interview when you hit some more record numbers and you hit some new milestones in your business. I can't wait to bring you back on for an updated interview. So thank you for taking the time, man.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.